All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Website Development Program, and in particular, the AWD 1111 .NET Framework with Web Databases class, what I've been doing is going through and creating a series of video presentations for the book that will be used for the class for the fall 2019 semester. That book being Pro ASP.NET MVC 5 and A-Press Text by Adam Freeman. So far, as we quickly view the table of contents, I started by basically doing a video where I uninstalled Visual Studio Community Edition 2017 and then installed Visual Studio Community Edition 2019. You should have 2019 as that's what we're going to use for the class. We've done Chapter 1, putting ASP.NET MVC in context. Chapter 2, your first MVC application. Chapter 3, the MVC pattern. Chapter 4, essential language features. And Chapter 5, which I just concluded, working with Razor, which was a chapter on C#. Now we're going to go into Chapter 6. And if you notice, Chapter 6 is the last chapter before we go into our project, which is SportsScore. All right, in Chapter 6, it's called Essential Tools for MVC. And I do want to mention one last time that I am doing this series for Chapter 5, which I just completed, and for Chapter 6 in the confines of my own house. So if the acoustics sound different than they have for the first 4 chapters, it's because for the first 4 chapters I did them inside of Rankin Technical College. All right, so Essential Tools for MVC, starting on page 119. In this chapter, the author is going to look at 3 tools that should be part of every MVC programmer's arsenal: a dependency injection or DI container, a unit test framework, and a mocking tool. The author has picked 3 specific implementation of the tools for this book, but there are many other alternatives. As noted in Chapter 3, Ninject is the author's preferred DI container, based on its simplicity, elegance, and ease of use. There are other ones, but the author recommends Ninject. For unit testing, the author is going to be using the built-in Visual Studio testing tools. All right, and the third tool the author is going to be using here is Mock, M-O-Q, which is a mocking toolkit. It says he uses Mock to create implementations of interfaces to use in unit tests. Programmers tend, it's kind of like, I always call it like mushrooms. People usually love it or hate it. Mock, according to the author, is the same way. As he says here, I introduce each of these 3 tools to demonstrate their core features, but do not provide an exhaustive coverage of any tool. Okay, so this is what we're going to go through. I'm not going to read this, and it'll end here. The author says here on page 120 that he assumes that we want all the benefits that come with from the MVC framework, including an architecture that supports testing with an emphasis on creating apps that are easily modified and maintained. He says, I love this stuff, but not everybody is going to. All right. It says here, I'm going to start by creating a simple empty app with the MVC folders called Essential Tools. So we're going to come in here, and as always, we're going to create a new project, go down a ways, find our ASP.NET Web Application Framework, click Next. This will be Essential Tools. I'm going to change the name of my solution to Chapter06. Create. It'll be an empty project with the MVC folders and core references. All right, and here we are. So we've added the models product.cs to the models folder that is going to hold this. We've seen this before. So let's go and bring it in. So again, we're adding a class. That class will be called product, singular. There it is. We're going to come into the product class and add our product ID, our name, our description, our price, and our category. We also, as it says here on the next page, want to add a class that will calculate the total price of the collection of all of the product objects. I added a new class to models called link value calculator, and you can see here the contents. So let's do this. Come in here, right mouse click again on models, add class. Again, the name is link value calculator. There it is. And let's just replace what's there with the code that the author provides us here on page 121 in listing 6.2 at the top of the page. All right, so we've got that. This class defines a single method called value products. It uses the link sum method to add together the value of the price category and putting it in P, all right, of each price or product object in an enumerable that's going to be passed to the method. The final model class will be shopping cart that represents a collection of the product objects and will use the link value calculator to determine the total value. This will be called shoppingcart.cs and is shown on the middle of page 121. So it's called shopping cart, and this will be it. Let's again copy it to the clipboard, come into here, again right mouse click and add our third model class, which again is called singular shopping cart. We will replace the contents with this. All right, that brings us to the bottom of page 121. Adding a new controller. I added a new controller to the controllers folder called home controller and set it to match listing 6.4. All right, let's look right there. So there it is. The index action method creates an array of product objects right here and then uses the link calculator object to produce a total value, which is then passed to the view method. The author does not specify a view when calling the view method, so the MVC framework will select the default view associated with the action method, which is the index.html file. All right, so let's come through here and add our home controller, but first let's grab all of the code that's shown here. Come into here, right mouse click on controllers, add controller. It'll be empty, add, and it'll be called home. Whoopee. Click add. We get the bare bones controller. You already know this, and we're replacing it with this. All right, let's pretty this up just a tad. I think that's pretty good. Let's do a file, save all. All right, the last thing we have to do for now is we have to add an index view. It does not matter which options you check as you create the view, as long as you set the contents to match the ones that are shown on the bottom of page 122. So here's index. Let's right mouse click, add view, index. Since we've been doing it this way, let's make it empty and let's have it be based on product. It says it doesn't matter, so we'll see. And click add. All right, I'm going to jump to the bottom of page 122 in the text here, and I'm going to grab all of that code that's shown right here, copy it to the clipboard, come back to here, and put in this. The view uses the @model expression to deploy the value of the decimal passed into the action method. If we start the project, what we should see as shown on the top of page 123 is the total value that is calculated by the link value calculator class. It's a simple project, but it sets the scene, or it gets us ready for the different tools and techniques that are going to be used later. So let's do a file, save all. Let's do a file, save all, and then right mouse click on our, close a few things that we've got open here. Right mouse click on our index file and view it in the browser. See if we get total value is 378.40 as is shown on the top of page 123. Total is 378.40. Great. Perfect start. All right. So the next thing that's discussed in the book, starting on page 123, is using ninject. All right, so as we're starting something new, and I'm at 13 minutes, I'm going to end this discussion as the beginning lesson for Chapter 6.